Kitchen. This is Chef Paul, and with me is the ever lovely Chef Amy.
Hi.
So today we're going to make some homemade burgers, and yeah, we did one recently, but I've got a few points I really want to put out. When you go to the supermarket and you get ground beef, it's not necessarily what you think. They're not taking the best parts of the cow and then turning it into ground beef for you. What they're doing is when they butcher, they make their different forms of steak, roast, and everything else. Then they have the extras, and that gets turned into ground beef. It's not bad, and it's not horrible, and it's not going to kill you. Like, I'm not saying it is, but it's not the best. It's like buying hot dogs. It's the extra from everything else, and it's not the best for you. It's not going to kill you, absolutely won't kill you, but it's not the best for you, right?
Right.
So when I serve Amy some hamburgers, I want to make sure she's getting the best I can give her, because my wife is the best, sometimes. So we're going to make some handmade burgers, and
Homemade.
and they're going to be completely homemade. And you know what? I would like you guys to, a few things I want you to start getting. If you don't have a food processor, get a food processor. This looks really different and peculiar to what a normal one does, but it is a food processor. You need one, believe me, you do. Get a food processor and you'll love yourself for it. So I'm going to take some onion. One large white onion and then a couple of cloves of garlic. It keeps Amy from trying to kiss me in the middle of the night, so I like it. But seriously speaking, it's good for you. So yes, this food processor is a little bit unique. If you see it on Amazon, we got it for $40. Good deal. We like it. Now, before I get too much in here, I'm going to really state here, when you get a food processor, be careful. Because honestly, you can really cut yourself really bad. I've already done it once myself.
By accident, obviously.
Yeah. So be very careful. So I've got garlic, onion already mixed up.
And look how good that food processor grinds it.
Yeah. And when you get a food processor, make sure that you're looking for one that can grind meat. So you want something powerful enough that will label itself that will grind meat. Because honestly, you know, why go cheap and then have to get another one later? Just, you know, spend your money wisely. So another thing I'm going to do, and yes, this isn't going to be 100% pure beef. I got some sausages. Yeah, it's going to be different. But you know what? Explore. Buy your favorite meats and then see what works for you, what you guys like. We like sausage. It's great. So it's going to give a nice little extra flavor and texture to it. And also make Amy clean more dishes because I have to do more. Amy loves dishes. Really does. So now we're going to process this for a little bit. Now this may not be all done, and oh yeah, it is actually.
It is. In a few seconds, it ground up that sausage. That's pretty impressive.
Yep. Now the real test is going to be the beef, though.
The steak?
Or the steak, yeah. So people ask me, you know, like, Paul, why make your own burgers? You can buy them, and you can just get ground beef that's already done. And yes, you can. But Amy, the last time I made my own burgers, was there a difference between ground beef burgers and completely homemade?
Yes, completely homemade had a lot more flavor to it.
It
was so much better.
And that's because we're not just using any cut, the, you know, junk beef, if you will. And ground beef is good. I'm still gonna buy it. I'm not telling you that I'm not. And I'm not gonna hold any illusion that this is a lot more expensive to do. It's a lot more expensive. But
just look for your sales on meat.
Yeah. it's just look for your sales, and if you can get your sales on there, then you're gold. Now when I clean this, I'm going to get another bowl, and I'm going to fill it with soapy water. I'm going to let this sit in here, and you're just going to reach like that. Now just because it's pork, unfortunately it was a little greasy, a little slippery. So I got some steak. How does that look? I'm only going to do 2 at a time, because you don't want to overload it.
No. We'll see how long this takes.
Now, normally when you're cooking this, you want to change the blades because you're cooking beef and then pork. Let's get mixed together.
So it's not like we're cross-contaminating.
We are, but not unintentionally. I mean, you hear that? It's going right through it. So let's see. I may have to continue doing more. And no, I don't.
This is the first time I've seen the food processor actually work. I'm pretty impressed.
So, I mean, there's a huge difference in the flavor when you know what you're putting into. I'm not putting cheap stuff in here. I'm actually making really good quality stuff. So there's a big difference. And it's done. Like, seriously? I mean, how often do you see that
A food processor goes through meat like that?
this is like really quick? So I'm gonna put a little soap in here. Maybe before Amy cleans it later, which she'll do very carefully.
Yes.
But it's gonna go through this first just to let it soak a little bit. And it doesn't matter, like if you're using food processor, always be super careful. And I gotta do this first. But see how good that cut it? I mean, that minced it right down, like. Okay, so now I can take it out.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna leave it soak in there with, and I need a little bit more water. So it's fully submerged for the blades, anyways.
Yeah.
And the top sitting out. And we're just gonna empty the bowl.
Look at that.
Now, another person was like, "Well, Poul, what spices do you put in?" Well, you know what? I want to taste the meat. I don't want to taste a whole lot of spice. Now, you can, you can definitely do it. But I'm going to recommend on this is that you just simply use pepper. You don't have to overload it.
No.
If I was making this just for Amy, I'd probably put like fresh ghost pepper in this water. You'd like that, wouldn't you, Amy?
Yeah.
All right, so there we go. So all I'm going to do here is I'm going to take some time, and this is going to take a little bit of time here.
To mix up.
You want to mix it. You want to mix it really good, because otherwise you're going to get a pork burger and then an onion burger and garlic burger. You want to make sure that when you're doing this that it's completely combined so that you're actually getting, a good mix of flavors that you want. It's not really that hard. I mean, it really isn't.
You could use your hands if you really wanted to.
Absolutely, you can. And I may have to, actually. Just going to grab a plate. when you do this as well, you're not running into the issue of it being extremely greasy, because a lot of times you're mixing ground beef, it's greasy. Like, you'd have to really want to Google in your area what ground beef is in your area, because I'm sure every butcher is going to be a little different. If you're in Canada, it's probably pretty standard, but if you're in the United States and the rest of the world, it probably isn't. So I mean, you can ask your butcher. I mean, they might be a little offended, so I don't know, but at least this way you know exactly what you're getting. I mean, is there any question at all of what you're getting?
No.
Our sausages that we buy aren't exactly like the typical sausages. They're not the cheap stuff. We get the good sausages, so we know exactly what cut it is. So if you're doing sausage and you're really fussy on it, make sure you ask the questions, because they may not necessarily just tell you.
No.
So you want to make sure that you're asking. And I'm filming doing this because I want you to see that it's really important to be mixing this. If you're not an onion person, you don't have to add the onion in. I find onions give burgers a lot more flavor and texture, as well as garlic. It really, really does.
But you can put whatever you want in.
Yeah, you don't have to put anything, just leave the meat the way it is. Don't have to put any spice, or you can add a lot of spice to it. You can barbecue this up. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to make the patties, and that's going into the freezer. It's just for them to form up, and we're going to fry ours because we don't have a barbecue. I blame you. So I'm just going to take a handful, and I'm going to work this. Some people say, well, you know, you shouldn't work your meat that much. It's going to fall apart. It's not. You want to make sure that you literally beat this really, really good. You heard this first here, guys. Beat your meat. It's important every time. Beat that until it's silly. And then what we're going to do, we're going to put this in plastic baggies, and then we're going to freeze it. And when we fry it up or barbecue it, whatever way you want to do it, cook it whatever style you want. But I guarantee this will come out way better than you can ever imagine.
And you know what's in it.
Yep. I mean, look at that. Isn't that a really good burger?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's going to take me a little bit to get this all, because it's, you know, a pretty big chore, right? When I'm cooking this, like when I'm done this, Amy's going to grab me another plate, and then we'll put another one. Then, you know, we'll keep filling them until they're done, and then she'll put them in baggies. You know, not that hard. Take a spatula, one burger bag, right? Take your time with it. But I really hope this helps you out, and you can understand a little better to why that we're doing this and why this is better. Because if you're trying to impress your family or a friend, or you got your first girlfriend and you want to show her how good of a cook you are, trust me, if she likes burgers, she's gonna love yours.
Oh yeah.
And she'll think that you're like way much better cook than even her father probably. So this is,
look at those.
they're great. So I appreciate that. So we're not doing an intro. We're not going to do an outro on this. This is the only part of the video. I do appreciate all my viewers, and I appreciate the support, and we thank you for it. So please hit the like, share, subscribe button. If you have a question, I'm not hard to find. Post a question on there. I'll get to you as best I can. We do have a Facebook group. We do have WhatsApp. Just drop us a line, and I'll get in touch with you as soon as I can. You guys have a great day. And one last thing, make sure you leave a little divot in the center of the burger. It's always useful that way. So have a great day, and thanks for tuning in.